All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to today's video. Before we get started, a like, a comment, and subscription would greatly be appreciated, as well as a subscription to my Patreon. Um, and I want to say thank you to everyone who has pushed me over 700 subscribers. I'm still a little bit shocked. I'm very grateful, and I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. So thank you very much for that. So today I'm going to be doing somewhat of an initial house rating. This is basically just going to be determining who has overall control over the house and kind of where each state is going to be. At the end of the day, this is very rough. We don't have any of the congressional district maps out yet. We won't likely see those until the end of the year, but and truthfully, we're not even going to know whether or not this is the actual apportionment until March, I think. Middle of March, basically whenever we do get the official census results back. And that could really affect the way population is counted. And we'll see whether or not these apportionments do matter. There's a few states that are definitely marginal as to whether they'll gain or lose a seat. Texas might not gain that third seat. Florida might not gain a second seat. Both are certain to gain. Texas is certain to gain two. Whether or not they gain that third, up in the air. Florida, they are certain to gain one seat. Whether or not they gain a second is, again, up for grabs. Alabama might not lose a seat, and California might lose a seat, which I think would be the first time in history California doesn't gain a seat in reapportionment. And by the way, a few of these states are going to be very easy to see, to determine who is going to win control over their congressional districts. For example, I really don't think Alaska is going to be anything other than a Republican, especially in a year that should, in theory, be favorable towards the Republicans. The Republicans are very good at running as the opposition party. I don't really see a Democrat winning in Utah. The Dakotas, I think by 2030, at least one of the Dakotas is going to have a second district, by the way. Kansas, we'll see whether or not they're able to gerrymander out the Democratic district, but for now I'm going to assume it's not realistic. Oklahoma, almost certainly none. We'll talk about some of these other states. Missouri, it's almost certainly going to be 6-2. Though I can see them really trying to get rid of that segment. Arkansas, I don't see a Democrat winning there. I think it's going to be 5-1 in Louisiana. And 3-1 Mississippi. With only 6 districts, if Alabama doesn't lose its 7th district, I would say that 7th district will stay with the Democrats. But if they lose a district, I really don't see a Democratic district being able to be drawn. It really is difficult to draw a Democratic district. I could, in Alabama, with fewer than 7 districts. With 5, it actually might be impossible. Tennessee, I'm going to say 8-1, simply because I think they might crack Nashville. Kentucky is going to be 5-1 because, though I could see them trying to crack Louisville, the center of the state, the 6th district, that is a very tough one. It's going to be very tough for them to actually split Louisville, so it may just be better for them to keep Louisville as one district. Georgia, I can see the Democrats holding on to 4 seats, especially with the way Republicans still control the governorship and both chambers in the state legislature. So they may try and get extreme with the gerrymandering. South Carolina is probably going to be 6-1, though I could easily see South Carolina gerrymandering out that one Democratic district. Florida, this is a tough one, but the best I've been able to do, now supposedly Florida does have a fair districting map, but there's only so much you can do with that. A fair districting law. There's only so much you can do with that, and I think Republicans are gaining in the state. And in a Republican wave year, it doesn't matter what type of fair districting law you're going to have in Florida, Republicans still control the entire process, and they have some leeway with that law that will allow them to draw a map favorable to them. North Carolina, I could honestly see the Republicans in the state legislature drawing a 12-2 map. And there's a few ways to do that. That said, you could argue that it violates the Voting Rights Act by being a racial gerrymander. I wonder if it'll get that far, but I could see them drawing a map like that. West Virginia, let's be honest, 2 Republicans are going to win there. Indiana is another place I could see them getting rid of one of the Democratic districts. Iowa, I could see a 3-1 map for the Republicans. And I can also see the Republicans in Nebraska, even though they technically have a nonpartisan chamber, getting rid of the competitiveness of the 2nd district. Ohio, I think the most reasonable expectation would be 12-3 for the Republicans, because it's going to be hard not to draw a Democratic favorable district in Toledo, Cleveland, and Columbus without really wrecking your chances in a year that is favorable to the Democrats. Wisconsin, I could see a 5-3 map being drawn, but the governor does have a veto, so we may see a more competitive map. So I'm going to leave that one as split. Though Republicans might be able to still get 5-3 in the midterms. Minnesota, 3-3 would be reasonable, and I'm not sure where that other one would be. In a Republican wave year, I'll give it to the Republicans, but that's just basically that. I'm actually not sure about Michigan because it's another one of those odd-numbered states. Again, I'm going to give it to the party that I think is going to have the advantage in the midterms. Texas, I think there's, 6 or 7 Democrats? I could see the rest of the delegation being Republican in Texas. I guess we'll move on to the Democratic favorable states now and talk about that. Illinois, I could really see the Democrats there doing everything they can to get as many Republicans out as possible. Colorado, I really only see about maybe 3 Republicans to 5 Democrats. New Mexico, it depends on how they draw the map, but assuming they keep the districts in their historical locations, it's going to be hard for the Republican there in the 2nd district to lose. Arizona is going to be a very competitive map, so I'm actually going to leave it at 5-5. I can see the Republicans gaining seat in Nevada during the midterms, but that is dependent upon how the map is drawn. Washington, let's be honest, at most 4 Republicans are going to win, but I could see it realistically being 3. Oregon is interesting. I think it's actually very difficult to draw a 5th Democratic district in Oregon without making it too easy for the Republicans to win 1, maybe 2 additional seats in a good year for the GOP. So I'm going to say they may draw a 2nd slightly Republican-leaning district just to minimize chances of a loss in a midterm. We'll see what actually happens. California, I don't really see any more than 8 Republicans winning, even in a Republican favorable year. It's California. Let's be honest. It's going to be difficult. New York, there's Staten Island, then there's like 3 upstate districts, and maybe 2 districts on Long Island. And that's about it for the Republican Party in New York. Vermont, let's be honest, the Democrats going to win that all day, every day. In Maine's 1st district, almost certain to be a Democrat, and chances are in Maine's 2nd, they're going to keep Golden in the 2nd district, and he's a reasonable fit for that part of the state. Massachusetts, it's all Democrat. Same with Rhode Island. There is only 1 there, though. Connecticut, on a very good year for the Republicans, I could see them winning 1, but I'm going to, for now, run on the assumption that it's all Democrats. New Jersey, I'll give the Republicans the benefit of the doubt and give them 3 seats. Delaware could be competitive, but I'm going to still give it to the Democrats. Maryland, there's some speculation that they may try to eliminate the 1 Republican district here on the peninsula/eastern shore portion of Maryland. So we'll run there. And then Virginia. I think this is the last. No, it's not the last state. Oh, that's why we've still got Pennsylvania left to do. It's only 28 though, and New Hampshire. There's going to be like 3 districts in Northern Virginia. The 2nd probably is going to be very competitive, and I can see that one flipping, but we'll talk about that. There's going to be a Richmond district. 7th might be competitive. And then, yeah, that one as well. I could see the Republicans getting up to 5 districts there. But I'm going to play it safe. And, well, with the fair districting law, or the nonpartisan, bipartisan commission that Virginia has, I could see them actually drawing a reasonably fair map that, in some cases, would allow the Republicans to even win a majority. But I'm going to go 6-5 just to be on the safe side. Pennsylvania is going to be a very competitive map. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Republicans win 10 seats to 7, which is not unreasonable in a favorable year for the Republicans, especially considering Bucks County is still probably going to be Fitzpatrick's seat. Unless he runs for the Senate, then I could see that seat flipping. So maybe 9-8. We'll go with 9-8 and be conservative on this prediction. New Hampshire, it depends. I don't think they're going to draw I don't think a crazy district is going to get drawn. So it's going to be very competitive, and both districts could go Republican, both districts could go Democrat. Erring on the side of being reasonable, it's going to be split. I'm erring on that, and we've got a modest Republican gain of 20 seats, though we could also see a lot larger gain for the Republican Party. We could realistically see a Republican majority that is bigger than this, and a Republican net gain of seats in the 30 to 40 range. After all, the Democrats in 2018 netted 40 seats in the House of Representatives. Republicans gained 12 seats in 2020, and I certainly think it's entirely possible for the Republican Party, through simply netting about 5 to 6 seats in redistricting, as well as having the wind at their backs in the midterms, they could easily put 2014 or 20. I think 2010 is a bit extreme, but this is also the Republican Party who are known in recent memory to be very good at campaigning when they are the opposition party. Now, I may talk about how to campaign when you are in certain positions at the party level, because it does matter, and it's, in my opinion, why I think that the Democrats underperformed in both the House and the Senate in 2018, but also to an extent in 2020. And why the Republicans seem to always put in blockbuster years in the midterms. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. See you next time. Take it easy. Have a very nice day, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.